Most of us only talk to a lawyer when something goes really south. Like the money is lost, someone cheated on you, the deal is fell apart. And now you are sitting there and thinking, okay, what to do now? So I invited someone who lives in this world every single day. Meet Varun Bhutani, head of legal team at Yes Madam. He has more than 9 years of experience working with some of the India's biggest startups. Today we are going to talk about the scams people are falling for right now. What to actually do if it happens, whether you can ever get your money back, the legal mistakes founder make that nobody warns them about, and the one rule that can keep you out of this legal trouble in your life. Let's get into it. So, first of all, Varun, welcome to the podcast. And I am really glad I can do this with you because, as I said you off camera as well, that being in this normal people world, there are a lot of legal stuff we are not, we don't have any info about, and we just get trapped into certain things. There are a lot of scams going on, and when I reached out to you for this podcast, no, that was my only goal, to let people understand what happened in the legal world, and I just want you to be the bridge between us and the legal world. So this podcast is gonna be around that only. So for the starting, I would love to know about you, like who are you, what you do, and how do you end up into law.
All right. I think thank you so much for the entire introduction. And to begin with, let me tell you, I think it's sort of a different introduction that I want to give to your audience. There is something interesting about a law profession. Okay, somebody of my experience who has already has a 10 years experience working or practicing before all the courts across Delhi, and then advising, having a permanent seat in these startups. I feel that I'm still law student, and I think all the legal professionals who are into this profession would agree with me, because I think this is so much of efforts or so much of energy that you have to devote to this profession. And every day the law is evolving, the society is evolving. You need to cope up with everything every single day. So I think my introduction, to begin with, I would say I'm just a law student who has practically practiced before all possible forums that we see in Delhi today. And I have advised more than 5 startups as a permanent employee of these startups, and hundred of founders that I meet through social events or through personal connections. I have advised more than 100 founders who are building their dream, who are building their business, who have put in all their efforts to get into a successful business. So I think that's the introduction I prefer.
That's great, really. Okay, so as of now, you are heading Yes Madam legal team, right?
Right.
Right, right. Okay, so I just wanna ask, like, my next question is around the scams that is happening around the world. Not let's not talk about the world. Let's just stick to India as well. So scam is like everywhere. Like there are a lot of scams going on, and every week there is a new thing that is happening in the scam world, and you see there's lot of heartbreaking stories about people who lost their money because of that scam. Okay, so you are into this world as well, you are into this, you are literally into this illegally. So what do you think people fall into very easily, like where people fall into these things very easily?
I think this is one of the interesting questions somebody can ask in today's world. So let me break it down to you. Some of people would say that in this particular year we are seeing that digital arrest is one of the most substantial form of cybercrime that people are facing. That somebody could be of opinion, okay, today I think say a job scam is running in over all over news. So I can say, this is job scam is one of the prominent scam that is there in the world today. But we should just get back to a point. How did these people or these scammers actually approach you? The first scam has happened before you even lost any finance, or you have even lost any information. The first scam has already happened when you have given your private information, sensitive personal information to somebody who does not even require you to for providing their services. We randomly go to websites, we give all the access to our information, we say we have this much this email address, this is our phone number, and you can contact us for some services or this or that. But I think the biggest scam that people can think of in today's world is your data. So I request all your viewers to be very careful where you put in data into, whom you give your data, whom you give your access information to. So I think if we can protect our personal information, personal data, I think most of the scammers will lose out on the data to even scam you at the first place. And while I come to this question again, but then let me tell you what's really going on in this today's world. People think that only the uneducated masses or poor people or say elderly people are getting scammed in today's world, but that's not a correct picture at all. Not at all. I'll tell you, I know a Padma Bhushan awardee myself who's a chairman of a multi-crore textile business, and he was defrauded of 7 crores worth of scam. So I think this sort of highlights, just open your mind to say, boss, it is not about uh, education, it's not about your age, it's not about anything. It's the culture that we have born into. While most of us are always scared when they see people in uniforms, we are scared when we see, oh my god, police is there, I should somehow escape this, and I should uh, take an alternate route. But I think that's the biggest social change that we need to bring into the society, because these scammers use all of these social techniques to scam you. In this particular case, which I'm talking about, a multi-crore textile business falling into scam, it was because he got a WhatsApp call. There was allegedly a Supreme Court judge sitting on the other side and asking him to do something. So I think when somebody of his stature can fall into these scams, I think we are just normal common people who can easily get into all of it.
For sure. I think I was just gonna give my example because I was a victim as well, okay? And and then I knew about your example. I felt like, okay, it could happen to anyone because I thought I was working in IT for like 4 5 years, and I was aware of these scams that is happening around me, and I was very aware. Like literally, I don't put my credit card or any type of information on any website. I will just okay, no, I will not save, although it's RBI approved, but still I will like, no, 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 I don't want to do this and everything. But still, it happened because of one Wi-Fi connection. I just wanted that. I just wanted that Wi-Fi to I disconnect the Wi-Fi, and I called. My mistake was to search the number, geo number on Google, and then call the company, and they get the whole info about me, and they literally took near about 1 lakh rupees out of my account, and I was like, oh my god, what to do now? So yeah, it could have, it can happen to anyone. Anyone. It doesn't like there is no bracket we can put that okay, this is the age, this is the person, these are the person we can't scam. No, everyone is falling into that trap. Even I heard one of the story of one of the influencer. I don't think I have. I hope you know Ankush Bhaguna or someone. He was a victim of digital arrest, and he's a very big name. Like in the makeup world, he's a very big name, and still he was arrested. He was in a, he even went to the hotel. He was digitally arrested and everything. So yeah, it can happen to anyone. So okay, so it happened. Okay, someone just been scammed, and it could be anyone watching this right now as we discuss. So what do they do in the next 2 3 hours? Like, could you please walk me through it?
I want to take your permission to draw your attention. Just think of a situation that you are scammed. You know that money has gone from your account, and there's no way you can just call the scammer or call the other person on the scam site to give you the money back. So I think this is the point when you should not waste any single minute. Think of a situation: somebody is in a bad shape of health, or he's on a cardiac arrest. There is this 5 minutes or 1 hour rule that we see. If you can treat him in those 1 hour, you can provide him all sort of medical emergency situation, you can recover your money. See, if the money has gone out from your account, it has gone to somebody else's account. It's not that your phone has given cash to him. It does not happen that way. So the money is still in the banking system. Okay, the banks still have the money in their possession. The first step, if we ask me, if you ask a lawyer that what would be your first step to guide your client, I would say there's a cyber helpline that government has introduced recently. This is 1930 call them. Try this. Even after this podcast is over, just inform them that what all has happened to you. Make sure that you have all the documents, all the account numbers, all the phone numbers that you were scammed with, all the emails that you have in your possession. You can provide to them immediately. So that's should be your step number one. Second step, I would say, so there is this RBI circular. So as we all know that RBI is the regulatory body which takes care of all our financial system in India. All the banking sector, all the NBFCs are have to be governed or regulated through RBI. So interestingly, nobody even knows about this RBI circular in a common man. Everybody says act fast, act fast, act fast. But I think this is a circular which provides a common man with the, a tool which says if you inform your banker that you have been defrauded, somebody has taken out money from your bank without an authorized payment detail or without an authorized, say, mechanism, you can report to your bank with all means that you have. Either you can send them an email, you can call them, or I would say do all of this, because once you have informed 1930 and they are able to trace your money, well and good. Your second step should be call immediately to your banker, reach out to them through email, or if you are physically present, if it's a working day, well and good, go to any nearest branch, inform that you've been scammed, block this money up. Just do it. Just do everything that you can possibly think of that way to send an intimation to the banker. And I think the most important factor here works when you also take an acknowledgement of your information that you have informed the banker about this. The process should be that if it's an email, you should have a proof of it, that you have sent an email. I think all of these important information, including your bank statement, bank account number, transaction detail, what scam has happened, all of these details should be shared with the banker at the first place. I think these two important steps, both of these have been done. Now probably you can access this website by Indian government. This is cybercrime.gov.in. There is a formal mechanism set up by the government which takes down the complaint that you wanted to give it to the police station or the cybercrime police. Step by step, it will ask you to register your phone number, verify all your email or phone number on that website, and then give details of your complaint, what exactly happened, what all documents that you have to prove your case. All of those details should be given in that one complaint. I think it works beautifully well, and it has worked for all my clients. That surprising thing to you, that police officer would themselves call you to ask you, ma'am, what has really happened, please tell us in detail, because it's their obligation, it's there. You don't have to get a receiving of it. You will eventually get it once you give your complaint on that portal. So I think that's three steps that you can take. Additionally, I think most of my clients whom I work with are big corporate organizations. So mostly they have a lot of insurances in place. So I think as an individual, as a sole entrepreneurship or a business person, if you have any insurance policies, or if you have a savings account in some bank, just check out all of their policies, that somehow if any of this cyber fraud cases are protected under that insurance. I think that's step number 4 for you. And I think if you are able to complete all these 4, I personally feel that you should be okay with that, and you should be able to get your reimbursement from the scammer that way. Yeah.
Yeah, because my next question was, is there any real shot at giving like getting our money back, or this is just a false hope? Because in my case, and in somewhere like the people I am connected with, in our case, we didn't get our money back because I informed cybercrime, I informed police station, I informed the bank as well. I called on 1903 as well, but after all the procedure, there was not even a single update. There were not any kind of information given to me. So yeah, I was just going to ask you this question. So is there any real shot of getting our money back?
Okay. So there's a uh, quote by one of the cyber law expert whom I have personally worked with. He says, hope is not a strategy. Hoping to get your money in your bank account by do all of these activities might not be the only strategy that you adopt. But you know if you want to be legally strong, all of those information would definitely help you. But the actions that you have taken post that would be equally important, because see, there is a law to protect you, but if you are not able to enforce it, then what's the meaning of it? We see that a
Right.
lot of domestic violence cases happening across India, everybody knows about it. But if you are not the person to get that complaint registered, get that information out to the concerned authorities, nobody's going to help you that way. If you have done your duties well, if you have done all your duties well, I think there should be no reason why you should not be able to get your money back. But having you on the other side, what I would definitely suggest you that there are two basic legislations that we have currently in India. One is your Consumer Protection Act, and the other one that people generally don't usually get to know about this is there's an RBI Ombudsman which regulates all the banking operations if you get defrauded. So I think first level of escalation, if you have made it to the banker that this fraud has happened, and then you have banker has been informed of that and they're not able to take any specific actions on that, you can probably, with all the information that you have, you can approach the RBI Ombudsman. I think it's pretty easy. There's a RBI website and they have their grievance officers email there. They have their ombudsman email there. Only thing it can help you is when you have all the data in place, all the information that I've discussed in first 4 steps are available with you. Then obviously there's a Consumer Protection Act which does not really, most of people think, अरे मेरे को तो लॉयर करना पड़ेगा, मैं 10,000 के स्कैम के लिए 50,000 का लॉयर करूंगी. That's because that's pretty much the sense from a common people that we hear. I don't want to get into all of this, मेरे को धक्के नहीं खाने कोर्ट में, and all of these common lines I hear every day. So I wanted to clear this pretty much to everyone listening to this podcast. Consumer Protection Act is a very basic say a legislation. Whoever, I mean, with the advent of AI, anyone can quickly go through what really the act says, what are your protections, where you can file. And there's a website also now for a consumer, right, that you can register your complaint for up to 1 CR there itself, and they will have to respond to it in a certain time period. And I'm really sad that you haven't met me earlier. I would have definitely tried my best to recover your money that way.
For sure. Okay, so problem is, no, I'm like you are on the other side of the bridge. Let me tell you what happens when you are on this side of the bridge. So what happens is, when you get scammed of small amount, which is small in other persons, I write somewhere around 20,000, 50,000, 1 lakh rupees, then there is a thing that people say. I'm not gonna put out the name here, of course not, but they say, okay, only 1 lakh rupees, we are not gonna do anything about it. I don't think this is the place you should be. Just go to some normal place and just do a FIR, or not even a FIR. There is something called Sanha, so you can just do that only. And I don't think that this much of money we are going, like, we don't want to go with the troubles of 1 lakh rupees and everything. So the point is, after going through all of these, no, I came to know there are a lot of things that government has already made us to understand that, okay, these are the things you need to do. But the problem is you are not aware of that things. You don't know anything about it, what happened. Like, you have to understand your basics as well, right? That, okay, if I'm living in this country, these are the criteria I have to know. If I'm getting scammed, then these are the things I need to do this, like right away. So problem is the knowledge. As of now, I think I can say for most of the people, they don't even know that there is a number called 1930 exist, where you can call and you can just make them, like, make your FIR, or you can just call your bank, or you can just go to the your nearest cybercrime police station or something. So the problem is the knowledge. People don't know about anything legal, especially legal, because we don't want to get into these things. We are like, okay, oh no, that, like you said, मुझे नहीं पढ़ना है इसमें, पता नहीं है क्या होगा नहीं होगा. So that is the
I think
problem.
very interesting that fact. Just to add on, I think as a lawyer, I really don't want to, push myself down and just tell you that all the information, all the things that I've told you, apart from all of this, there's another provision in the law. Okay. So there is this legal aid cell in every court that you visit. So it's your fundamental right to get a free legal aid from the courts. Okay. So every time you hear somebody who cannot really afford a lawyer or an advocate to represent themselves, there is a free legal aid available to all the citizens of India. You can go to the court, take help. You don't even have to spend a single rupee, and they will have to do it for you. That's something which is, I think everybody should know, that these are your legal rights, these are fundamental rights. One should avail benefit of it.
Right. Okay. Let me ask you one question. If I want to educate myself regarding these stuff, what are the things I need to do for the basics, to get my basics?
Okay, I think apart from your routine conferences or your socialized circle, I think there is training mandate by all the banks whom you are interacting with. They regularly put this exercise of teaching, their clients, their customers, that this is how you can protect yourself if you come across a call like this who's offering you 100% return on your investment within a short span of time. Your mind should not first think of it as a money investment. Your mind should think in your mind that this is a scam, because nothing free comes in this world ever. There's no free lunches. So your first click should be that it's a scam. Second thing, I think most of the people who are there in metro cities would see that there are a lot of seminars are being conducted by police officers. So there are cybercrime stations regularly, makes out a program to aware general public about what all common scams they've been seeing through, or common scams people are getting their financials stuck with. And apart from this, there's a government website also which is basically meant to teach you what really is a sub. I think it'll be interesting that all of these links should be available to all your viewers to see that there's this website where we can just log in, because I think most of the information that you see on televisions or say your social media is not verified one, because everybody thinks that probably even if I click on this, I might end up in other scam rather than getting myself education that way. So I think that's also one of the step one can get themselves educated about this.
Sure, sure. I'll just put it all in the description for sure. Okay, so we talked about the scams happening with the normal people. Let's talk about the startup as well. Okay, so let's say I'm starting something like a business or a brand or whatever. Okay, so what are the legal stuff I'm probably completely ignoring as of now that is going to be a big problem later?
I think this question is quite relevant to me because I've been working in startups for about 10 years now. And I think there there is no end to ignorance. Every single startup has done their part of legal foundation wrong in some or the other way. Okay, some of them have done it wrong from the inception. Some of them have rectified if it was rectifiable. Some of them are still figuring out how to rectify it. So to start with, I would say I think your foundation does not really start on the day you have product in hand, you have services available to giving it to your customers. I think the first step of any business, any new profession should be to know what are actually the legal nuances attached to this uh, business. I think that's number one. And see, every business, every profession, or any service industry that you see currently in India or outside world, there are a lot of changes happening. Okay, there could not be a situation when all of your businesses would have a pre-existing playbook available. For example, there are businesses like selling of groceries. Okay, there is a predetermined playbook. You can copy anyone and anyone in the industry, but we are in a mid of a transition. We as a country, as a world, transitioning into a world where we are going from a physical business to a internet one, from internet to now AI advent. So I think all of this put you in a situation when you where you don't know what exactly is right for you, but then a professional like us can help them out, that okay, fine, this is the gray area where we do not really have a law to guide you. A particular thing should be done this way or that way, but then there are set of precedents that a legal professional can guide you, because they have been seeing this transition through their eyes. They have been regularly going to the courts, regularly taking notes of arguments that are happening in court. So I think it's always better that one should not ignore it. Even if you are small, probably go for a lawyer who can advise you with their expertise, with their budget. I think one should definitely put some part of their business budget into a legal foundation, because it's similar to building a home. If your foundation is weak, it's that easy that you're building whatever structure you want to create, it will collapse. It will not only collapse the building, it will hurt the other people around that building as well. So I think that's my advice to every startup, every founder. I think that's where people like us become relevant, because we have already guided a lot of startups and we already seen industry for 10 years. And any founder who would approach me, who would want to take some information about this he's willing to start, and now what should be my first step, because I think it's also important that there cannot be a same playbook for all the businesses. I would say somebody who's sitting in a remote area mandatorily would not be required to register themselves as a private limited company. Probably they can run their business well as a sole proprietorship. I think it's completely not a same playbook that I can give it to anybody and anyone. It's all factual. It's all client based, and that's where importance comes in. Because we are not AI ready-made answers that you type on Chat GPT or other GPTs, other software, that I want to start a company, what should I do. It's not that simple. But I think that's the legal advice I can give it to all the young founders who are entering into this new era of entrepreneurship. And yeah,
Right.
that's
For sure, you can't heal your wound by chat GPTing, right? You have to go to the doctor. So yeah,
right.
okay. So I my next question is about legal notice. Okay, so whenever something goes wrong, maybe a landlord issue, maybe vendor issue, maybe something else. So people say just send a legal notice, okay, by a lawyer or something like that. So what happened when first of all, what is legal notice, like why you have to do it as a normal person? Let's say in my case, if I want to I am a victim of some scam, and now that I have to give a legal notice to, not scam, because I don't think it is done under the scams or something, but let's say my landlord wants me to vacate this place, and I don't have the bandwidth to do this in 1 month, and it get escalated and everything, and now though everything is legal and I have to send him a legal notice. So is there any playbook, or is there any advice you want to give to the people, because they spend thousand, I think they take 1,000, 2,000, maybe more than that, for just sending the legal notice. So what happened after that?
First of all, I think this question itself makes me bring smile on my face, because as a lawyer, as an advocate, I understand, where you are coming from, because there are two set of people advising you on legal notice. One say, this is a nuclear option that will destroy relationship, you should not send, you should settle this, that. And there is another set of people who think it, as an expensive way to threaten somebody, and all of this. I think both these aspects are wrong. I'll tell you why. Because one should know that there is a legal mandate that if you are initiating a case against government of India, or any state for that matter, for any you're filing, you have to claim something from your state of Haryana, or say a government organization or anyone, there's a legal mandate that you particularly have to serve them a legal notice before you even initiate a case against them. Or say a situation where your check given by one of your client has been bounced, there is a legal requirement that you have to provide them with a legal notice. So all of these information, you should definitely consult your legal professional. Having said that, apart from this mandatory review or mandatory legal notice situation, there are other side of it, wherein you think of situations where a well drafted legal notice, which correctly writes all the factual information, all the concerned law, all the practice that could have really affected the case if it has to go to a court. So I think first thing one should keep in mind that legal notice is not just a threatening instrument, it's a first step to resolve disputes. I think one should be structurally right, factually right, and take an advice before sending a notice, because ultimately this notice will form a base to any civil criminal proceedings that you will initiate in future. Your legal notice, whatever you information you have written it to them, if you have not mentioned correctly, if you have missed out on something, it will not be taken in a good way by a court if that case enters into a court. One should be very careful about that. Now come to the other aspect of it, when people say, when we can sit, negotiate, and close the matter, why to even go to a court? Because my first inference of this situation, working with startups, I would always advise them to send a legal notice, not to threaten or not to settle the matter, but to clear your picture correctly, to give what all merit stands in your matter, what could be possible dispute, because sometimes it's their own client who's not giving correct information to the lawyer or the advocate they're hiring, and sometimes it just goes away out of half cooked factual situations, and that's how you send them a legal notice, and then you end up losing the fight in the court at the first place. Second, to save on the time, we advise if something could be done before initiating a case, because once case is initiated, then it all depends how the case gets treated. So in average case time, it takes 7 to 10 years of a civil case to get finished in India. So you can Just imagine the sort of trauma one has to go through every single date. One thinks that, okay, fine, this date would be the end of the story, and then you find another legal remedy available to the other person, and then appeal goes on, and then appeal on appeal goes on, and then there's a matter reaches Supreme Court, and then there's another option available to the opposite party. So I think in this scenario, I would say, a good lawyer might not be the one who can, advise you to send a legal notice at the first place before even listening to what the story hears. I think wisest lawyer, resolves it even before it is necessary to go to the court. Or that's my personal view out of practice that I've given to this profession.
Oh my god. Okay, the time frame is too much. But why I ask you this question is because there was something going on like 7 year back. There was something going on, and I need uh, my somewhere around my mom's PF money got stuck, and I wanted to have it like me and my brother was trying very hard just to get the money, and no, there was no point of contact. There was nothing to do. We were just googling and googling and googling, and no one was responding and everything. So at last, what I have to do is I have to post it on LinkedIn, and my I got my money within 1 week, literally 1 week. So as of now, I think after that incident, no, I I literally thought that okay, in India or maybe in other country as well, if you want to have the basic rights as well, if you want, not in case of money, in case of other things as well, you have to be a social media influencer. That's how you will get your things. Otherwise, the time frame, the trauma, and the problems people face during this phase, whatever they are going through, is too much, and you can't even imagine being in their shoes. So that's why I wanted to ask, illegal notice is a thing or not, you should approach it or not. Because everyone, whenever something happened, people will say, okay, just send a legal notice, as if like it's a paper and you have to just send it over. It's a legal thing, you have to be aware of it. So being in the startup world for like a decade now, what are the biggest mistake you have seen founders make in terms of legal things?
In the very beginning, I told you that some people, some founders tend to have their basic wrong at the very beginning. Some of them start off pretty well, put all of their energy into it. But there's one interesting thing, one interesting fact that one must know, all the young founders who are listening to this, that when you are starting a new journey, when you're starting a new business, you are all positive. You have to be all positive that all of these people who are working for you, working with you, have one single agenda take take a good position, to take company to a good position. So I think over time, when you get sort of a customer reach, when you have built something substantial, now there's this thing that who owns what.
Right.
There's no legal agreement between the founders at first place. Everybody just do everything whatever they could possibly do in an arrangement. So I think it's very basic that whenever people are coming together to start off with something, they should agree on the ownership. They should have sort of a fundamental agreement or something in writing that I am putting in all the hard work, you are putting in all the money, or maybe somebody is putting both of it. So one should know that how much, what possibly could dispute, what possibly they could land up into after a company goes big in size. So one should have this basic cleared before even starting anything together. Because I think if you're this is very basic, because even if your product is right, your customer base is right, you have done everything right for the organization, but then if this dispute happens, all crashes in a day, not years together, it crashes in a day. So one should be very careful about this. I think this is the basic thing one should just keep in mind, because anything goes off, business goes down, customer retention is not there, everything can be fixed, but when the dispute happens in the home, then there's no relief there, because one does not even communicate to the other founder that this is what I'm facing, this because it's just that everybody is thinking on their own way, that I have put in efforts, I'm not compensated enough for it. So I think this is the common mistake, or I would say common understanding one should clearly define at the very beginning, because you are ultimately aiming for something big. Nobody starts a business to fail it. Everybody starts a business to see it as a successful institution after a certain time. So I think that's very basic, which I would suggest every founder to have in place.
What are the most overrated legal advice you have heard as of now? So, like, you just know that it's not right. It's not at all right.
There are a lot of things which I can name it right now, but then people running into solutions directly without even thinking, okay, what the actual situation is, something it's very overrated, because you go to a lawyer with half cooked story and they tell you, let's sue somebody, let's do this, you have all the rights in this world. But I think one should be very careful that before you even approach a lawyer, you should have basic understanding of things, that what's actually going in the market. See, I would not say that all advocates are the same, all advocates would eventually land you up in a bad situation or a bad courtroom experience. I'm not at all saying this, but then I think, like any other consumer, one should know where they are entering into. It's not a clean plate that everybody you meet in court would be nicer to you or would advise you correctly, because see, ultimately there are self-interest come into place, case where you do not even require a lawyer in the first place. Maybe because of their personal greed, somebody just advises you wrong and you get into a court case where it might not even be required. So I think overrated advice, or I would say overrated suggestion, is to just sue somebody without even giving it a thought what the correct picture is. So I think that's very overrated in India, that before even doing your own due diligence, you end up talking to a lawyer, and then all of these things messes up, and then you ask yourself, was I correct in going to the court for this particular matter?
I think we have to wrap this up because I took a lot of your time, and I just have one more
No, I
question.
think I was on the other side enjoying the conversation, because it just relates too much with me.
Right. I also, I'm not into a legal at all. Like, I'm not into legal field at all. But when we were talking, no, I just got into the conversation. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I have to ask this question. There were a lot of things that was not even in my mind before starting this podcast. But when we got into talking, I was like, okay, I need to ask these questions. I have to, the conversation was awesome. So I just have one more question for you. So when you are doing your, like, what does your own checklist look like when you are trusting someone, or when you are going for any opportunity or any deal? So what is your checklist look like?
See, I think you have asked a very interesting question, because these things are not taught in your law schools, or say in your college or schools anywhere, because these are something which you experience over time when you become when you give more time to the profession, when you meet a lot of people. I think all of these checklists become a part of your routine life. You don't even get to know that, okay, fine, I am asking so many details before even investing a single penny of mine. So I think one beautiful advice somebody gave me, that hey, I am talking to somebody, I am trying to get in a business relation with him, I should know who he is. All of your relatives have taught you that, don't talk to strangers in train. It's simply this whenever you're entering into uh, a business relation with somebody, why not ask their details there and then? Just clarify on the other side, ki bhai, you are a company, you are an individual, what you've been doing. And I think because of lack of information, people generally tend to get into these things more. I mean, these scams or these things, because most of the information that you require is available for free in public. You have this MCA portal, your company portal, your GST portal, where you can just take an abstract of about the company and see, bhai, what they have been doing all these years. I think that's particularly point number one. Then I think most of the time, when you talk to a salesperson to avail services or to get into a business relation, I think they overpromise. So just even while you are purchasing a particular thing from a shop, the version which they tell you on your face and what they write on the paper are 100, I mean 99.9% of time there'll be a different story altogether. Matlab, if you read that paper, if you see what have been orally promised to you, will be altogether a different thing. So my advice is to read. If you're not able to read, take help from somebody who can help you with this. So at least now that we have AI, put all those things which you're not able to understand, to ask your GPT friend to convert it into your regional language or the language which you understand. So I think it's step number two. I think once these two things are sorted, then probably, third advice comes from, I mean, it also came from my father, in the early years of my, not even profession, I would say. I was just starting off my college, and he asked me that, whenever somebody offers you something which you think is just over promising, or you say, it generally does not happen like this. You cannot become a richest person of India from day one. It begins as a journey, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day. So I think if an opportunity is available to you which is giving you unrealistic result or promising you unrealistic results, I think it's a red flag for me. I would then deliberately slow down and understand what really is the opportunity. Is it a scam, or there's a legitimate opportunity over it? So my third thing would be that. Then I think then there's a saying that, if you are entering a relationship with somebody, some business transaction, something, one should know, if I have a right to exit that transaction at any point in time. Because sometimes you get invested into things where you don't even know, okay, how will I exit from a certain situation. If, say, I'm investing money in, say, real estate, or say stock market, or say anywhere I am putting my money or hard earned money into that, I should know that this is the way I can take an exit, and whenever I require to take out my money, so I can do it for myself. So I think that's another thing which I should be taking care as a individual, not a legal profession. I think you don't need a degree to do all of these checklists. It's pretty easy. It's pretty advices that your parents have given it to you while you were growing up, and I think only thing you should want to do is just implement this in your life.
I would love to add one more thing is the urgency. So people will,
Urgent.
yeah, no, 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 you have to do this within 2 minutes or this offer will gone. Okay, let it go. Because this is for sure a scam, because whenever someone says this is only for 2 hours or only for 2 days, this thing has something fishy and you have to understand it. So urgency is also one thing that people should notice before getting into it, and it's a major red flag.
I pretty much agree with you,
Right.
and I think this should be on my checklist for now on. But I think we do so much of due diligence before it that urgency itself crashes down, because the point that I mentioned above, if I do all of this checklist right, the urgency goes off. So I think for an individual, as a legal professional, I don't think that will be a decent checklist to do. But then for an individual, I think you have added very correctly that one should see that somebody is offering something and telling you, boss, just do it, and then I think you should just stop see,
Yeah.
read, and then go ahead with that. I think
Go ahead.
that's
Right.
pretty good advice.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do I say? This has been an incredible time, like talking to you, understanding these legal terms, because as a layman person, it's very hard to understand this industry. And I'm doing it, as I told you in the starting of the podcast as well, that I'm doing this just to be the bridge between the industry and the common people, because most of the time we end up stuck in some kind of situation is because of the information, because we don't have the enough information. And if we have because as we discussed, no, because of ChatGPT or some gurus over Instagram or some other social media. So we need to have the expert of the industry to let us understand that okay, this is what happened and this is what you need to do, right? And I think I have invited the best, one of the best people to convey the info, especially in terms of legal advice or in terms of startups and everything. So thank you so much for doing this with me, and I hope we will get into some other podcast as well, some other episode as well, and we will get into some other stuff that is going on.
And I think you have just mostly covered everything. I think it's a wonderful platform. I think the job that you've been doing and getting hands-on things for your common people to know that what professional mindset look like and what people are doing and what people are actually incorporating their daily lifestyle. I think it's pretty relevant to today's world, and I think you've been doing a wonderful job. All the best to you. All the best to your company that you've associated with. I think all the very best. And I think one thing I should advise all your viewers, that if you are a young founder who who's enthusiastic about creating a business, creating an opportunity for themselves, I think it's exclusive to all your viewers. I'll give an access to my email. Somebody who's in a need of a legal advice, I think they can write it down to me on my email, and probably you can paste somewhere in your description box that hey, if I'm building this, I need advice from you. I'll be happy to guide them as I get an opportunity to do that.
Really great. It's really great. I would love to do that, and I would love to add this in the description. I think it will help a lot of people, because I think India is a country where everyday startup is like, people are building a startup, people are into business, and most of the people are into it and they don't have the right information. I know that because uh, I have been the victim of major things, not me, the people around me, the very close people around me, and we know that it's not about startup. It's about a lot of things. So we need to have the right information, and we know. And as you said, I'll just put your email in the description, and I'll let as much people know as I can that okay, if you want to have a right information about starting a company or what you should do legally, then you should just watch this podcast and you will thank me later. So
Saying this, I think that sums up pretty much everything that we have
right.
done here. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.